Hey Eagles fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into the Eagles Report, and today, Jim Schwartz looking at the Cleveland Browns as a head coaching opportunity. Clowney says the Eagle fans are the worst in the National Football League, and Malcolm Jenkins demands a new deal. Before we start, though, we're going to do an Eagles mail video a little bit later on this week, meaning we use the hashtag Eagles down below. Ask any Eagles-related question in the comment section, and I will answer it in a later video this week. Again, hashtag Eagles down below. Get your questions in. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, let's go and start with the latest news here happening in Philadelphia, and that has to do with potentially Jim Schwartz, our defensive coordinator, going to the Cleveland Browns as their new head coach. He is scheduled to interview with them a little bit later this week. The Browns put in an interview request for Jim Schwartz. The Eagles granted that request, and now Schwartz and the Browns will meet in a couple of days here to have an official head coaching interview, as the Browns are the only remaining NFL team without a head coach right now, as theirs remain vacant after go ahead and firing Freddie Kitchens a couple of, weeks ago now at this point. Couple of things to note here. The Browns are interviewing a ton of people. They already interviewed 49er defensive coordinator Robert Saleh. They're going to interview Patriot offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. This is not just we really are looking at Jim Schwartz. It sounds like the Browns are trying to do their due diligence and interview everyone possible for that job. There is a connection, though, between Jim Schwartz and potentially the Browns, and the fact that the Browns might be looking at former Eagles Vice President of Football Operations Andrew Berry as their new GM. So that's our current Vice President of Football Operations, Andrew Berry. Of course, they went ahead and got rid of John Dorsey over there in Cleveland, so they need a new GM. If he goes, in terms of Andrew Berry, then there's a connection. Philadelphia guy hiring a Philadelphia defensive coordinator in Jim Schwartz. Then we all know that Schwartz once was an NFL head coach, really not that long ago, leading the Detroit Lions, and really a lot of people saying they want Schwartz to go because the Eagles defense has been up and down. The Eagles defense held teams to 17 points or fewer in 8 of their last 10 games this season and has had success, obviously leading them through the postseason, where they held Matt Ryan to under 15 points and they held Case Keenum to under, 15, 20 points there in the NFC title game. They had an excellent run to the Super Bowl, and that was a big part of the fact that Jim Schwartz has been able to be a very good defensive coordinator. Has he been frustrating at times? Absolutely 100%, but it does make sense that the Browns are doing their due diligence. I don't see this as a potential hire. I think Cleveland's going to go on the offensive route, potentially going for a Josh McDaniels from New England, even though McDaniels might stay in New England and become the heir apparent to Bill Belichick. But if they wanted to go defensively, I would go Robert Saleh and not Jim Schwartz. He's kind of a younger name, a younger uprising head coach right now. I think Saleh would really give the Cleveland fan base a lot of excitement. So will they interview Jim Schwartz? Yes, they've already said they will this week. Will he actually leave? I would go ahead and say no. What do you guys think? Type in the comments down below. If you think Jim Schwartz is going to leave, type Y. If you think Jim Schwartz is going to stay, type N. Let me know in the comment section down below. Moving on, this is some developing news here in terms of our star safety Malcolm Jenkins, who played basically every single snap this year, not only on special teams and kick coverage and punt coverage, but obviously as our star safety who can also play nickel. He's a total Swiss Army knife there at the safety position, the best safety the Eagles have had since Brian Dawkins. Apparently, he told multiple media outlets after the Eagles' wildcard loss to the Seattle Seahawks, he is unhappy with his current contract. He will not play under the current deal next season, meaning either trade me or go ahead and rework my deal, give me more money. When you actually go through the numbers here, he has 2 years left on his contract. The problem is he's the 9th highest paid safety in terms of annual value between the next 2 years at $8.75 million between both years. It's like 8.1 and 7.6, and so it kind of works out to where he's basically getting $8.5 million the next 2 seasons. The problem is he has 0 guaranteed money. So he's playing at an elite level, obviously 12 quarterback hits, 8 pass breakups, 89 total tackles, 3.5 sacks. I mean, he was unbelievable this year and has been ever since we signed him away from the New Orleans Saints. Yet Philadelphia was reluctant to give him a new contract this offseason. He held out for majority of training camp. He decided to come back and played under the current deal. Didn't complain about it, but it's looking like Malcolm Jenkins is wanting a brand new deal and will not play on the current deal that he is at. Again, I have no problem with him requesting a new deal. He is a defensive player on this team. If any of them need a new deal, he is definitely one of them. And he just watched Fletcher Cox a couple years ago get a brand new extension. He watched Brandon Graham get a new extension. He's watched a lot of Eagle players get the well-deserved extensions that they've had. Nigel Bradham, the linebacker, got one as well. It is more than enough, or more than overdue, his turn to go ahead and sign with the Philadelphia Eagles. The problem the Eagles have right now is he is aging, right? So Malcolm Jenkins is getting up there in age, one of the older safeties in the league, still obviously playing at an elite level, but is he going to be worth the money that Malcolm wants to be paid right now? The Eagles should pay him. I think the Eagles will pay him, but it is something to monitor going into this offseason. As the Eagles have a lot of free agents, you could technically put Malcolm Jenkins down as a free agent, though, even though he signed through 2 years, because he will not be playing under the current contract. So it's either trade him or sign him. We'll see what the Eagles do over the next couple of days, weeks, and months. Final bit of news here on our Eagles report. It's shot in the thumbnail, Jadeveon Clowney's face, which is very annoying to see right now because he was a big reason why the Eagles weren't able to beat the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday. So, of course, he had that terrible hit, which throw up on the screen right now, lowering the crown of his helmet, knocking Carson Wentz out of the game with a concussion. We all understand it was dirty. We all understand it was late. We all understand that he should have been fined for it. Should have been a flag, and yet none of the like actually happened. Jadeveon Clowney then made it even worse. After the game, had some harsh words for Philadelphia Eagles fans at Lincoln Financial Field, telling the media they are, quote, the worst fans in the world. Now, Jadeveon Clowney might hold a grudge because, remember, last season, whenever the Texans were playing the Eagles late on in the year, Nick Foles was in at quarterback, and Clowney hit him late. It was flagged, and he was fined for it for a late hit on the quarterback. Didn't like it, didn't agree with it. He led with the crown of the helmet to Nick Foles' chest, and he paid the price by not only getting the penalty, like we said, but also paying a fine. So Clowney probably is just holding a grudge against our Philadelphia Eagles, but really, worst fans in the National Football League, that was a dirty hit. I don't care what you say. I know Clowney came out and said, no, it wasn't a dirty hit, but majority of the Eagles players who watched the film and were actually on the field during the play were like, man, that was 100% a dirty play. So Clowney gets away with one there, and then takes the second shot at our Eagles, saying they're or at least our fans, saying we are the worst fans in the world. I can think of a lot more teams that have worse fans than the Philadelphia Eagles overall, and it is just a tough situation as we're out of the playoffs and he gets to move on, but makes it hard to root for Seattle going forward against Green Bay because they have a guy like Clowney who ended our year and is taking shots at us as well. Remember, Eagles fans are not going to forget this. If we play Seattle at all next season, especially in the postseason, a lot of boos whenever Jadeveon Clowney takes the field, whether it's in Lincoln Financial Field or at CenturyLink as well. There we go. Latest bits of news here in terms of Philadelphia Eagles news and rumors. Obviously, the big one having to do with the potentially losing defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz to the Browns. He's going to interview this week. Will he go? I don't see it happening, but again, and crazier things have happened. He's one of the few coaches right now the Browns are interviewing that has former head coaching experience. If that matters to them at all, remember Freddie Kitchens, the one they just fired a couple of days ago, he did not have any head coaching experience, so if they want a coach who has been a head coach in the league, Jim Schwartz is definitely one of the higher-ups on that list. Malcolm Jenkins, not going to play underneath his current deal. 2 years left, about $8 million, $8.5 million in both of those years, and yet he has said, nope, I am one of the best safeties in the league. I do not want to be paid like the 9th best safety in the league. Give me a new deal or else, and the or else is either going to be he's going to hold out, he's going to demand a trade, or could he retire at the age that he's at right now? I know the Eagles players love him. I think he's going to be signed for sure. It's just a matter of time. He'll probably get it done this offseason once we get over to free agency. And then, of course, Clowney, doing the dirty hit, not getting fined, not getting suspended, not getting any flags. Ridiculous. Comes out and says the Eagle fans, who have been probably, tweeting him some bad things, which we shouldn't be doing, but still have said the Eagle fans are the worst in the National Football League. We understand that we are not the worst, but, what are you going to do? Clowney's upset. He gets to advance. We don't, so I guess he wins in the end. There you go. All the time we have for today on the Eagles news and rumors video. Go and subscribe to the channel. Would greatly appreciate you guys trying to get us to 2,000 subscribers here over the next couple of days. And also leave a comment down below using the hashtag Eagles. Get your questions in for our Eagles mail video coming up in just a few days. For the Eagles Report, I'm Thomas Mott. We go ahead and sign off. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.